morning, noon, evening or night, depending when you're watching this video. My name is Alegende and welcome back to World of Tanks and the Omnipotent Onslaught series, which is a series by this point, couple of episodes at least. But today I have two replays featuring the almighty Maus'es, absolutely dominating in this particular game mode. Well, you can figure out which type of maps it's going to be, of course, with this vehicle. But let's just see at how it's done to absolutely wreak havoc with this tank. A short notice from my last video over 3 months ago. I took a short break from YouTube, but if all is well and okay, because a lot of things are happening, I am again back with weekly uploads, so no worries about that. But right now, seeing that the AMX is getting shot at and occupied with my teammates that is focusing him, so after shooting him, he gets destroyed fast afterwards because more of my teammates were also around. And after that, I'm focused towards the flank with the most enemies at the moment, even getting another nice shot into a flanking enemy. From that point, it is keeping up the best position in order to, well, defend the cap circle and also keep an eye out where my team is currently at. So after discouraging the Batchet to peek again, I'm just going for it. Most of the enemies are going the long way around, so it is key to take out these couple of isolated enemies with the majority of my team. It might have been the game if the enemies took a shorter route and pinned me down in the middle. In that case, it was keeping them occupied, so my team had the best chance to get rid of the other tanks. But definitely a huge loss of win chance that the enemy gave here by going the long way around. So I here focus the one-shot Batchet first and going for the BC instead of the Conqueror, because there was a high chance that my team got that one shot earlier, which indeed happens. This way I had more time to put a consecutive shot into the BC, which is dwindling him down rather fast. And alongside with the STB1, we kill him. But unfortunately, the T-57 Heavy does get the jump on my final teammate, and it is now 1 versus 1. So right now I'm letting the T-57 go in order to put on cap pressure and keep myself a little distance with more cover. With the smaller proximity spot, staying in a large hole lowered my advantage to respond to a advance of the T-57 Heavy with my quite slow mobility. Right now I see his advance way earlier and have time to respond to it. So this forms the perfect location to do so, with corridors stretching far, which I can see him easily through. So from the cap right now, I have all the angles to pin him down, and when he makes his advance, I can of course respond rather fast. Despite of that, he still goes for the charge right here. Luckily I get one extra shot up. I engage and shooting his weak spot cheek. And after that I immediately restore a little bit of hit points in order to increase my chances to survive 3 shots. But I reloaded in time and I also bounced a shot right there. So some key features on this battle was targeting and focusing down the isolated targets. First off with the AMX being alone in the middle, and afterwards focusing down the 2 enemy tanks that were left alone by the majority of their team. And with some team effort we even got it down to a eventual 2 versus 1, but unfortunately with a auto-loading Heavy we get a quick 1 versus 1, but no worries, with correct positioning and cap pressure I pretty much forced his move, shooting him a couple of times in the process, and with a superior amount of HP and, well, armor in this case, I deal with that issue quite effectively. Up next we got Cifra GM play also in his mouse in, of course, the other typical mouse map in the Onslaught game mode. It is ends. And right off the bat, the team pretty much decides for him what kind of advance he should make, because he is following the team instead of going solo towards the cap. Increases your survival odds, and as a more competitive team-oriented game mode, increasing the chance to overwhelm the enemy team that divided their forces more spread through the map. So quite an important feature to do here, just swallow your pride and don't go your own way. Well, actually in just random battles that's also not a very smart idea, since you can still getting rushed by the enemy team, but especially in this team-oriented game mode, it is key to, well, function like a team. And then with a super heavy, you should not go alone anywhere. In the meantime, Siffra holds a bit back to keep the T110E3 at bay, keeping one extra enemy off the front line for his team. But it's a 1-for-1, but at least the T110E3 can be quite formidable at a close range, so keeping it at a farther distance is more recommendable. And just like that, angling his turret perfectly to deflect a shot like that. But after the T110E3 is out of sight, he goes in to help his team, also trying to help out his fellow teammate in the mouse, who managed to flip himself, but isn't really successful and loses more HP with doing that. The flipped mouse, however, is still useful for the team, distracting the IS-7 and taking damage that would otherwise be directed at tanks active in the battle. So it's not really a shame to keep him there flipped, well, especially if you cannot do that much about it. But also a mouse with that many hit points can survive quite for a long time and function as a literal meat shield, and that way giving the chance to the active team members to hit the enemy's back without losing too much HP themselves. And the flip mouse even tries to shoot at an enemy target if it gets into his, well, range, third range or something like that. Quite a lucky high roll right there, rolling for 561 with this 490 alpha damage gun. But they pretty much have this in the bag now against one final mouse, which is going to show how long it can take to deal with a mouse in this game mode. So timer was set on 6 minutes and 10 seconds remaining on the clock. And let's see how long it will take to finish off this final enemy. Because the mouse, of course, can deflect some shells in the meantime. It can also fly back and try to, well, rid more and more team members of Siffra, his team. And of course, the ridiculous amount of HP in combination with the ability to restore some of that HP as well. Luckily, the enemy mouse also has some issues dealing with the E100 Siffra, his team, not being able to finishing him off. But while the 2v1 continues all the way up to the 4 minute and 24 seconds mark. That means that a 2v1 against a half health mouse at that moment still takes 104 seconds to deal with. That is almost 2 minutes. That's quite insane. So in this battle, teamwork makes the dream work. Well, pretty much Siffra, his flexibility to do anything that his team is trying to do, versus going with them towards the same flank, keeping off quite a strong enemy all the way into the back line for a little while, and afterwards trying to helping that flipped mouse, and afterwards just dealing with the problem while that flipped mouse is eating all of the damage, most of the damage. And with this type of teamwork, focusing down one-shots once again, although that wasn't really a one-shot, but looking high rolls makes it a one-shot. And well, that way it was a quite, I wouldn't say easy 2v1, because it would still take quite a long time to finish it off, but well, the enemy mouse was never going to able to get a win out of it, even with one of Zifra, his teammates, out of the battle flip. So that was some mouse action on some typical mouse maps. Hopefully you might have learned some tips and tricks from these replays. And with that, that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Laters!